Welcome. Today's program is email marketing for law firms. And it's one of my favorite programs to teach because there is a big difference between email newsletters and a traditional email campaign. And they do two very different things. There's a response that is very different from a newsletter than from an email campaign. And that's what we're going to be focusing on today. It is an intensive session. We're going to go through a lot of information. So before we jump into the material, I want to give a background on the website. It's a place for you to learn about legal technology, practice management, education, and we do that through reviews, webinars, articles, and then we'll be publishing a buyer's guide in October. So thank you for being a part of the legal tech community and subscribing to Lex Tech Review. A little bit about myself. I have put together the presentation and everything that you see on the site based off of over 10 years of working directly with solo and small law firms. So the information that you see is from actual implementation, from courses that I've taught for bar associations, and working directly side by side sitting next to solo and small firms, helping them implement this technology, and also asking questions afterwards. Did this particular message work? Coaching them on an ongoing basis, and finding what works and what doesn't, and changing it, and creating new ideas and products and services to go along with that so that they can be successful and get more clients. So let's jump in. Email marketing for law firms breaks down into two types: e-newsletters and campaigns. It's pretty standard for a law firm to have a newsletter, both sent digitally and in the mail. These are sent to the entire list, so anyone that has ever had an interaction with you. So if they have done intake at your firm but didn't retain you, they should still be receiving your newsletter. If they have interacted with one of your teammates and could be a potential referral source, they should be getting your newsletter. Friends and family members should be getting your newsletter. And it includes general information about the firm, education about a particular practice area. There's a personal injury firm here in Florida that actually does a newsletter for their law firm that shares product, like hazardous product updates. So when recalls happen for children's toys or vehicles, they include what those are and always have a tremendous amount of content. I'm always surprised at how many defective products there are out in the market. And I get that information from their newsletter. Campaigns. Campaigns are built to sell. That is the purpose of a campaign. So a newsletter is to keep the firm at top of mind and give some general information that can be shared with that recipient's circle, their social circle, their immediate center of influence. That's who a newsletter is meant to speak to. A campaign is meant to sell legal services. It is meant to connect and convey the need for legal services by creating a conversation that goes on over a period of time. So whether you're sending one email per week or one a month, it should have a very specific goal for that campaign. As an example, if you do estate planning and probate, we are going to walk through a campaign that is specifically targeted at converting a potential client into a paying client by inundating them with information about that particular case type. Now, in order to run a campaign, you have to know who you are targeting, and you also have to be able to segment them from the list. Now, we're getting into some marketing terms here, so I want to break those down. You have a general list of people who might be receiving your newsletter. You also, as part of that list, or you can start doing this in the intake process or on your website, if you offer something for free on your website, like maybe an ebook or a checklist or something related to a particular type of case that you provide, you can start to create a list of people who you know are interested in that service, who are interested in estate planning, or who might be coming to your criminal defense website because they want to get something expunged from your record. You can come up with an entire campaign on just expungement for criminal defense clients who you worked with that you thought were one-time clients. You could actually run a campaign to anyone who you have worked on a case for, reaching back out to them, offering them expungement services. So you know something about these people. You know something about these people that is unique enough for you to offer them a specific service. For my business law listeners, the opportunity to do a legal checkup on their business. For parents, have you updated your estate plan? For clients who you know are within a certain age range that may have aging parents, can we talk about estate planning for the entire family? What is the plan? And what the dangers or consequences of not having an estate plan are, and how difficult probate might be. For potential probate clients who have reached out to you but not actually signed or retained your firm. A sequence that we're going to go through that explains the challenges of having assets caught up in probate. So this is a group of people, not your general list, that fit an ideal client type and that you can speak to about a particular service. Now, inside or on the screen that you're looking at, it includes a call to action. And a call to action is asking them to do something. Any good piece of marketing is going to have a call to action. What am I asking you to do? You are participating in this sequence. You are participating in receiving marketing information from my law firm, and I'm going to ask you to do something in return. So newsletters and campaigns, just to recap that. An e-newsletter should be sent at least once per month. Anything more than that, and it kind of becomes a campaign. So newsletters are typically newsletter for the month of June, newsletter for the month of July, so on and so forth. And then the message or campaign messages which build off of each other to incite action. So it is a sequence. And the reason why I use this particular graphic on this slide is because it builds. It builds upon the message that you sent the email before. And you can also see who is responding, because any of the software that you use, which I'll give you a few examples of the software that you can use to do this, provide you with statistics. They provide you with the number of opens. I ran a campaign for a client just a couple of days ago and pulled the report, and I can clearly see that out of the group of 40 or 50 people in this particular campaign, we have 5 that are very engaged. We have 5, and that's actually pretty good. So that's about 10% of the list that is going to lead to a purchase. And we have, 5, no, it's actually 7. We have 7 emails in that sequence who are legitimate candidates for actually purchasing product. So, and to give you just a little bit of motivation, email marketing, as it relates to campaigns or newsletters, is typically a 4-to-1 return. 4 times the dollar amount or 4 times the value back in ROI for running that campaign. So that's what you should expect to see. It also takes about 90 days because you will send out newsletters or you will run a campaign, and over a 3-month period you will still have people coming back who never opened that newsletter who go back and open it because now all of a sudden a situation arises and they either need to send a referral your way where it's a family member or a friend who has a situation arise, or they themselves ran into something or finally decided to pull the trigger. Especially especially in the area of estate planning or bankruptcy or legal services where they are not necessarily motivated to make a decision on an attorney right away. It can take up to 90 days for them to make that decision, and staying in their inbox and at top of mind is how you make sure that you're available when that need arises. So first, build a client persona. So this is Sample Sally. Her background is she typically works, human resources. She's had the same career for a while. She's married with 2 kids. She's calm. She may have an assistant screening her calls. Asked to receive collateral, mail, or printed material. She's got an idea for a business, but she doesn't really want to leave her job. Or she's thinking about an estate plan, but she's not really ready to spend the money yet. What does this person do? Where do they hang out? And by creating these personas, you are able to identify your ideal client. You're also able to identify areas where if you do a speaking opportunity to this group, that you're going to be able to talk to an entire room of Sample Sallys, where you're going to be at a much higher likelihood of walking away with business or the potential for business by targeting a particular demographic. There are oftentimes lawyers that I speak to that say, oh, I just do anything that comes through the door. Well, that can also work against you because you're not focusing your message on a particular type of client. And it's also hard for people to refer you business because you can't articulate what you do, because it's like, well, I do a little bit of this and I do a little bit of that. The more that you hone in and niche your marketing, the more effective it will be. And I know a lot of business owners and attorneys alike are very fearful of doing this, but it pays off every single time. I have yet to see a situation where someone niched and went after being an expert in a particular area or a particular case type where it backfired on them. I have yet to see that in 11 years. So here's an example of a newsletter. Firm information, local news, contact us, information clear at the top. The only thing that I would change about this particular newsletter is the courthouse steps. I highly recommend that you use images that mirror what your clients could potentially look like. So where does Sample Sally hang out? If Sample Sally is married with 2 kids, it could be a family playing in the park. It could be a business image of someone working in a co-working space, for if you're promoting forming an LLC or handling IP patent trademark information. So mirror the images inside of your newsletter and inside of your marketing material with what that looks like for your client. On the left-hand side, you have a section. You can also do it on the right. You could also put it in the middle. You should have some section of that newsletter template design, which most of the tools that I'll talk about at the end of today's presentation are include layouts for you. Like, this is really simple. You don't have to have a designer and do all kinds of crazy stuff. You can build your newsletter yourself easily with the tools that cost less than $50 a month. Some of them are $20, some of them are even free. So jumping into the actual content, having an area about your firm. On the left-hand side, we can clearly see they do auto accidents, they do slip and fall, they do product injuries, dog bites, free consultation. Here's your phone number. This is how you get in touch with us. It could be it could also be information on, do you have your legal health checklist? When's the last time that you updated your estate plan? Did you know that you can have your criminal charges expunged? Use that colored block as a way to call out what you want them to do. This is where your call to action should live, because the eye naturally gravitates to the portion of the newsletter or the email that is different. It's a fact. So in the main body, you're going to have your news, you're going to have education. So why you should have a will. What's different between using an online legal service for business incorporation and actually working with an attorney? What are the benefits? Use this as an area to establish your expertise. This is an example of an email campaign. Very, very different. This is a 12-part email campaign, and just to give you an idea, putting something like this together is something that you would pay a marketing service or a copywriter or someone who's specific to marketing within the legal industry thousands of dollars to do. So I'm going to make this presentation available in PDF on the website. I encourage you to download it. This is actually the layout of a campaign that I personally, as a marketer, would charge thousands of dollars to write for someone. So please take advantage of this. Campaign outline for a probate practice. So email campaign, the top is what the campaign is and who we're going to send it to. So this is a probate series sent to all of the email addresses in this firm because all they do is probate. And by all the email addresses, I just want to clarify that this is people who have not retained you. You don't want to send this to existing clients unless you think that there's one that specifically needs this information. This is a 12-step campaign. An email that will be sent to everyone on this list once a week. Once a week. And it is my personal opinion that when dealing with marketing campaigns, very different than newsletters, that you inundate them with information. You inundate them with value. You overwhelm them with the amount that you know about this particular practice area to the point where they say, if I ever need to hire a lawyer, this is the person to go to because they clearly know their stuff. Now, the other thing that I'd like you to note about this is that we rotate between written assets and video. Now, that can also be, video can also be interchanged for a downloadable checklist, a guide, a informational tool that you have on your website, a calculator, anything that you can provide of value that's like multimedia of some kind. While written emails are great, interchanging them with video or pictures or something else, or diagrams, infographics, is a way to keep the mind from getting bored and from tuning it out. Video also images process in your mind 60,000 times faster than text, and videos convert at 150% of the rate than text alone. So use those assets. For some people, writing is really difficult. If it's easier for you to sit in front of your computer and knock out a video for 5 minutes, then that's what you should do. If it's easier for you to write, then go the written route and include options like downloading an ebook, driving them to your website. Everything that you do in this email campaign should have a goal. Driving them to the website to make a consultation. Including a call to action like watching a video so they educate themselves. So we're just going to walk through a few of these subject lines. First of all, you always want to kick off with a welcome to our email series. If they're receiving this email as the first communication after not speaking to you for a while, you do want to give them the opportunity. Always send this through a actual email marketing tool to comply with spam rules and laws. You never want to get a violation for emailing someone without permission. So that first email is casual. It's, introduction message to the email series. It should have a picture of you, your law firm logo, and then at the bottom, always make sure that there's the option to unsubscribe. So you might get a few unsubscribes. It's totally normal. The people who don't are going to be viable prospects for your business. Next, 2 things to ask your parents about their will. That is the subject line. So these titles, where it's next to all the numbers, are the subject lines. Welcome to our email series. You can interchange that with any welcome message. So it could be hello from George at such and such law firm, or I haven't talked to you in a while. It would be great to reconnect from Sally. Make that first one casual because it's going to come from you. That's another thing as well. You want to use an email address and a person that is being sent from. If you're in a firm with more than, if you're not a solo and you're in a firm with multiple staff members, pick someone who they may potentially have interacted with that is also going to respond, because all of the responses are going to go directly into their inbox. And you want to make sure that you're taking care of these as they come in. 2 things to ask your parents about their will. Next email a week later, how to get an asset out of probate. Number 4, a week later, avoid the fight, how to ensure your family won't fall apart during the will reading. That one includes a video with cautionary advice for families as they create an estate plan. 5, 3 ways to tell if you need a probate attorney. With a written article, 3 signs your situation may require a probate attorney. So you can see that the content is building. We're going deeper and deeper into an area of probate. And the topics are also varied. The next one being, how soon after a family member's death should you sell their real estate? And that's a video with a short answer on real estate sales timing. One of these subjects and one of these videos is going to speak to them. So don't expect everybody on your list to all of a sudden start emailing you after email number 2 or email number 3 begging to hire you. You have to switch up the content because you don't know what situation the person is in on the other side. And that's why it's 12 steps long, because we're going to have to go all the way down through each one of these topics to potentially find something that matches with somebody on the list. And when you do, it's going to strike a chord in them. There's going to be an emotional response, and they're going to log that as a milestone in their brain for when they need something, they're going to call you, or that could be going on right now and they're going to reach out. That is the intention and purpose of an email campaign. It is to provide them with so much information. There's an adage, it's educate, overwhelm, sell. Educate, overwhelm, sell. And for the potential clients that have a legal need, considering going online and doing it on their own, they're going to be getting these emails, and there's a point where they're going to start to wonder if they really can do it themselves. If there's so much information and so much expertise that's required in order for a case to be executed properly or be properly handled by an attorney, and these are all of the reasons why and all the things that you need to know, maybe I shouldn't fill out that form online. And I've been on both sides of the equation. I've been a business owner multiple times over, and am one now, and the level of understanding, despite my exposure to thousands of attorneys in the legal space, I still hire an attorney. I still hire an attorney to handle things related to my business, because I know that there's things that I don't know, and that's the most dangerous thing for any entrepreneur, is to be out there, operating with no understanding of what could be lurking around the corner from a legal perspective that could endanger everything that you've built. And I know that because I've been around attorneys who know what they're doing, and they're clearly, that's their level of expertise. I'm an expert in what I do, and I hand over those responsibilities to someone else. And that is what you need to convey. You need to convey that you are an expert in this area with so much content and so much information that it overwhelms them to the point where they become scared of doing it on their own. And that's really, and then you have service level offerings. You have different service level offerings so that when they do come to you, and you can even include that in some of these emails. You could put, instead of email number 5, you could include an email at the number 5 mark that talks about the different tiers that you have, of what the difference between a starter will and a full-blown estate plan are, or a legal checkup compared to an entire business law package. The opportunity to sell services can exist anywhere along this string of emails, and that's up to you to decide. So I'm going to publish this on the website after today's presentation is over. We're going to get those up tomorrow before the week is over, and you can download them and then make this your own, use it as a guide for building your own sequence. So great newsletters and campaigns have or are some of these features. So the next couple slides are going to give you ideas to help you build the campaign. Today's session is an intense explanation of the difference between a newsletter and a campaign. the next step, the next thing that you need to do is actually go out there and start using some of this stuff. So I want to leave you today with ideas for content and the things that should be included. So if you're doing a newsletter or a campaign, it should be short, it should read like a story, it should help your reader. There should always be a call to action. There should always be contact information. It should always have social media links so that they can share. You would be amazed at the number of email forwards and social shares that happen off of just newsletters alone. Email campaigns, you're not going to see so much of that because you're providing really unique information to a segment of people that you spoke to. It should have a personal touch. So sending from info@the-law-firm-of-so-and-so is not a good idea. It should come from a person. I will tell you right now that you will have horrible, horrible, horrible open rates if you're sending from a generic email address. They want to see that it comes from a person. If you can include a picture, fantastic. They need to, people don't buy from companies, they buy from people. So lead with that personal touch. Social media links, contact information that provide them with an opportunity to share with others that might be going through a situation. So that's requirements as far as newsletters and campaigns are concerned. Next are content ideas. So practice area news is always good. Anything that may be going on, let's say that you practice business law and there's a local tax change that's going to affect small business owners. You can talk about that. You can comment on certain cases that have recently been filed or settlements that have been made that were public in the news. You can comment on that and kind of piggyback on that information. Divorce attorneys always have it easy. Sometimes estate planning attorneys do too, because you have the ability to piggyback on some celebrity news, like celebrity divorces. I've seen quite a few attorneys really capitalize on that and send out newsletters or email campaigns commenting on like child custody battles, like the Brangelina divorce. There was quite a bit of discussion around that, or focus on what happens when a particular celebrity is arrested. Like there was a law firm, a bankruptcy law firm, I believe, who, actually, what was it? It was criminal defense. Can Justin Bieber be deported because he was actually not, a full-fledged citizen and got into some legal trouble? So can he actually be deported? And it would be this like big celebrity. So I thought that was a unique way to piggyback off of some celebrity news. So jokes where appropriate, just make sure to keep it classy. I always say in any type of marketing that you do, there's one golden rule, and that is just keep it classy. You wouldn't want it printed on the front of a newspaper, then you shouldn't say it, because that's the equivalent of the internet. Consumer protection tips, especially around the holidays. There's a spike in a lot of different practice areas: domestic violence, DUI, criminal defense. All see spikes around the holidays. Unfortunately, it's just a fact in the industry that we're in. So consumer protection tips. You can highlight staff, employee bios, or news, or accomplishments. Frequently asked questions. So I want to go back to campaigns on that one for just a second. Campaigns are almost always built using the frequently asked questions that you hear in your consultations over and over and over again. Those are the questions that you should use to fuel your marketing material, because if you're hearing it over and over again, that means your ideal client needs that clarification. And usually around this time of the presentation, I start to get questions about disclaimers, and you can type any questions that you have into the chat box. We've got time at the end of the session to tackle those. But the disclaimer should be on any video on your website or marketing material that you do, that this information is provided for educational or informational purposes. This is not specific to your situation, and in order to determine that or advise you on your case, you would need to make a consultation. So just have that simple disclaimer. It doesn't need to be anything crazy. It shouldn't be like 5 paragraphs long, but have it at the bottom of your email or have it at the bottom of your newsletter. And of course, you should always have that on your website, that it's for advertising and educational purposes and not specific to a client's case or its legal situation. You can also promote a blog post, any charity or community work that you do, and then provide any educational resources that you might have, such as books or checklists and so on and so forth. And then we're going to wrap up today's session with how to actually get started. So I equate marketing to like everybody's New Year's resolution being like, I'm going to go lose, 20, 50 pounds. And we all go to the gym and we're working out like 5 times a week, and then all of a sudden we either like hurt ourselves or we're so exhausted that we just like collapse and we can't get anything else done. Pick something that you're going to be able to stick with. Okay, this is a lifestyle, this is a marathon, this is not a sprint. So choose 2 to 4 sections of frequently asked questions or content that you'll actually be able to write. Outline your campaign. Don't outline your campaign and then give yourself a deadline of it being done and loaded into a brand new email system that you've never used before in a week, because it's not going to happen. I'm a marketer and I couldn't even get that. Like, that would be like a rush job that I would need to do over the weekend, and I would have to spend every hour that I have doing it, and I know what I'm doing. So be realistic about what that looks like for you. Maybe start with a newsletter. If you're not doing anything at all, start with a newsletter and get to know your audience. Change up the subjects of your newsletter to find out what is striking. The data will tell you. The reports inside of these email communication tools will tell you. If you get a flat open rate, which if you're getting an open rate higher than 20%, you're doing a great job. If your open rates are 3, 5, 7%, we got a problem. Switch up the subject lines. If you have July newsletter in your subject line from so-and-so law firm, I'm going to tell you nobody's going to open that. You have to have some type of information about what's inside to entice them to open it. For that criminal defense firm, can Justin Bieber be deported? You want to know what the open rate was on that? It was just like nuts, because everybody was, oh, Justin Bieber, let me look. So, look for opportunities to make it exciting. Look for opportunities to have it not feel like a law firm communication. Because at the end of the day, people buy from people, they don't buy from companies. So you want there to be a little bit of casual approachability there. Decide your title and your sections, and for the campaigns, decide your theme. Keep it consistent. You want to talk about one specific case type. Even if you practice in multiple practice areas, don't talk about bankruptcy and then the next week talk about criminal defense and then the next week talk about personal injury. You're going to confuse them. It's like somebody that you meet at a barbecue and you're talking to them and they say, what do you do? Oh, well, I do criminal defense and personal injury and family law, and every once in a while I do civil litigation. And like, either they've already glazed over and they're looking for an opportunity to like go back to get some more food or refill their drink so that they can exit this conversation, and they're going to completely forget what you even said. And then when it comes time where somebody needs a referral, they're not going to refer anybody to you because they don't remember what you did, or they don't think that you're really an expert. Keep the theme consistent. Talk about one particular case type and run with that through the entire section of the sequence, or entire cadence of the sequence. And lastly, these are the few of the tools that you can use for our AVO users or AVO Power users. They do have AVO Ignite, which is built for lawyers. Constant Contact is usually the default. MailChimp offers a free amount of sends up to a certain amount of contacts. ExpressVision, Vertical Response, and Aweber are all, they all do the same thing. They're all going to be between $20 and $100 or $20 and $60 per month, depending upon the number of contacts that you have or the number of emails that you expect to send. So this has been a kind of drink from a fire hose overview of email marketing for law firms. My name is Chelsea Lambert. Thank you so much for your time. I encourage you to check back on the website for the downloadable version of today's presentation. It will be live tomorrow. You can also email me at chelsea@lextechreview.com. You can check me out on LinkedIn. And I really appreciate everybody spending a little bit of their day with me today. I hope that you have found this presentation to be helpful. And I welcome you reaching out and connecting with me in the future. I will see you online and have a great rest. I hope you have a great rest of your day.